We get in here early in the morning. You know, like I said, my wife actually kind of gets mad at me because I can't wait to get in here.
If you're looking for Peter Limmer, he's a pretty easy guy to track down. He's been pounding nails and shaping leather in the same horse barn turned boot shop in Intervale, New Hampshire for over 40 years.
I'm still using some of the tools my grandfather brought over.
Peter is a fifth-generation boot maker and a celebrity among hikers, collectors, travelers, and locals.
It's been pretty incredible, yeah. I was never pushed into the business. Subliminally, I think I was, but, you know, it was a good choice. I got a lot of friends that are retired, and they're wealthy, but I don't think they're as happy as I am, and that's most important to me.
Peter Limmer Sr. began making shoes in Bavaria 100 years ago. He moved to the United States and was issued a patent in 1939 for the first ski boot. Limmer no longer makes ski boots, but their hiking boots can be found around the world on the highest peaks and most challenging trails.
Somewhat envious, you know, is my hiking is pretty much done on my Facebook page these days. But yeah, it's great, you know, and just I get invites to stay all over the United States, but I think it's because they know I don't take vacations.
Peter has been talking about retirement for a while now.
You just have to wait and see, you know. I mean, I've got people that at the drop of a dime to say they're going to get on the backlog if they find out that there's not another generation coming up, which means my retirement's going to come even later and later than I anticipated.
He has two sons he's close with, but who are not interested in carrying on the family business. And with an 18-month wait list, an exit strategy isn't something that Peter has been able to come up with.
If I quit today, I'd be out of here in a year and a half. And you know, and you can't tell anybody because then everybody wants the last pair of boots, you know? They just don't understand what closing the door is all about.
That is, until recently.
Well, I'm planning on wearing out soles off of something other than a wood floor. Yeah, so, I mean, it's been great. Adam's been with us for 5 years now. Very competent. He was a woodworker, and so his eye for detail is great.
Lane Olson has been on a 5-year crash course in all things Limmer boots, but his path to this Intervale workshop is a winding one.
He was actually my bank manager, and that's how I met him. And we just got a relationship going, and it just turned out to be one of the best things that's ever happened.
Kind of hit it off, you know, right away, and the more I, talked with him, the more I did a little bit of research on what it was that he did, the more fascinated I became with not only the boots that are made here, but just the culture, around it, and the people that we get to deal with.
It was a business trip to the Limmer workshop that left Adam daydreaming about going from banker to boot maker.
I walked out of that meeting going, interesting, this is really a fascinating place, and it would be really a shame if it wasn't going to be able to carry on. So then every inner sole like this gets then hand trimmed.
Peter thought Adam would be worth a shot, a good fit, and they've been working side by side ever since.
So right now I am kind of starting the process. I'm putting an inner sole onto a foot model. So this is really where the boot begins. It was really challenging at first to kind of get my lay of the land with, with the tools and the materials that we use. They're so unique that it was definitely something that it took me a while to get my head around, and especially, being a left-hander. In the shoe industry, most things are made for right-handed folks. This is a 5-in-1 that does 3 things. So if you figure out what the fourth and fifth are, let us know.
Limmers come in one style, one color with one seam, because why mess with greatness? But it's the custom part of the business that has people flying in from around the world to have Pete sketch their feet on a piece of paper.
The seam in the boot, we're a one-piece upper, which is one of the most expensive ways to make a boot, and that's why we've never been copied. Last week alone, we had a guy fly in from Ireland, had a guy fly in from Texas. The farthest known that I've ever had come in for a final fitting was from Tasmania.
Adam has been working on the production run of Limmers and has recently graduated to trying his hand at the custom end of things. So far, he's made himself 3 pairs of Limmers. It is part of his new uniform, after all.
I want to see, the boots continue, like that there's no really other way about it.
One of the advantages of having a 1.5 year lead time, we don't need repeat customers necessarily. We just treat them like that, part of the family.
Peter isn't sure what the future will look like or when he'll lace up his Limmers and head to the shop for the last time.
Actually made a new pair because my last ones at 25 years old I thought were going to last long enough to retire in. So I had to make a new pair about 4 or 5 months ago.
But when you ask him what he wants to make sure people know about his boots he and his family have poured heart, soul, and lifetimes into, his answer is simple.
How grateful I have been to have that clientele for 46 years. Simple as that. The people. People are wicked nice.